Hi, I'm John DeWorkin.
And I'm Sunnie Harmon, and we're with LobbySC, a pro-business government relations firm based here in South Carolina.
We just entered week number 3 of the legislative session, 17 weeks this year, and they sure got back to work, didn't they?
They did. It was very busy, packed in a lot of meetings this week to make up for the snow last week.
And the ice.
And so lots of energy meetings this week. The Labor, Commerce, and Industry Committee continues to hear testimony on House Bill 3309, which is the Speaker's energy bill that, among other things, would authorize a joint build of that natural gas facility between Dominion Energy and Santee Cooper.
Kennedy's.
Yes, which would bring in a lot of much needed natural gas for our existing businesses as well as incoming industry, residents. On the Senate side, also a couple energy bills that were heard over there.
The Senate Special Committee on Energy.
Yes, and this week they heard from large energy users and looking for some potential solutions or for large energy users.
Yep.
But no action was taken there. And then
But lots of testimony.
And then Senate Judiciary Subcommittee, chaired by Luke Rankin, passed out a bill that will authorize that joint build without all the other stuff that's in the Speaker's 70-page energy bill. And then they passed out another one which would encourage Santee Cooper to put out an RFP to attract the private sector to finish VC summer reactors 2 and 3, those nuclear reactors that were abandoned several years ago. So Senator Davis hopes that they'll think South Carolina is a good spot to do that.
There, and then over in the Senate, they dealt with that education issue.
Yeah, this is the Education Scholarship Fund, which would have given, depending on income levels, families $6,000 to send their kids to private school. It also allows them to pay for tutoring and other education type expenses. However, that $6,000 for private schools got ruled unconstitutional by our South Carolina Supreme Court last fall. And so the Senate's solution to that is, instead of paying it with general fund dollars, to use lottery fund dollars. And so they've sent that over to the House. We'll see what the House has to say about that and whether they agree or disagree with that. But we'll continue to keep you posted on what's going on with that piece of legislation.
Yeah, and then Governor McMaster had his State of the State this week, Wednesday night. And some of the highlights in that include he was touting that this is the third best economic development year in the history of South Carolina. $8.2 billion of capital investment. Some of the top categories include information technology at $4 billion, aviation, aerospace, automotive. So no surprise there.
And that $8.2 billion in capital investment, just to clarify, because I think there's been a little ambiguity for some people about what that means. That means that those companies are investing $8.2 billion in South Carolina.
That is right.
South Carolina is not giving them $8.2 billion. So just thought we'd clarify that.
Thank you.
For those of you that don't understand that today.
Thank you, Sunnie. A couple other things that were highlighted in the governor's State of the State. He talked about the need to reduce the income tax down to 6%. He talked about tort reform and liability. Energy obviously is a big issue. DOT bridge repair, $100 million for that he'd like to see. And then Hurricane Helene. The state agencies have spent a lot of money on Hurricane Helene. Of course, there's reimbursements from FEMA, but there's also some real costs too to the state. So, he's talking about doing $50 million for the DOT haul debris, and $40 million to replenish the Office of Resiliency, and then a $150 million grant program that entities, local governments, etc., can apply to try to replenish what they've spent on the Hurricane Helene efforts.
Well, to learn more about what we talked about today, you can visit lobbysc.com, and we will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in.